Valve is making it almost impossible for anybody to compete with the Steam Deck. They just announced that they are selling certified refurbished Steam Decks and the price is really low. When the deck launched, the handheld PC market was typically around $1,000. That's because the companies making these devices were fairly small, selling them in small amounts and making it very difficult for them to turn a profit. In comes Valve with the backing of the Steam store, allowing them to sell it at $400, and suddenly everyone is paying attention to the handheld PC market. Still, at this point, I don't think that there's anybody that's matching that price to performance ratio that the Steam Deck has, and that ratio just got even better. What are you playing?
Oh, this is Antechamber. Hang on a second. Didn't I fire you?
Well, yeah, but I still live here. I just don't have to do anything now. Is it any good?
It has some really cool concepts, but this game is weird.
Wait a second. Is that TV bigger?
No, it's the same TV. It just looks bigger because of the lights behind it. They're from our sponsor, Lightme.
Oh, now it's our sponsor? I thought I was fired.
Well, if you edit this video, I'll give you your job back. It'll give me more time to figure out this puzzle.
The Lightme TV backlight is controlled by the HDMI 2.0 sync sticker, which detects relevant RGB and intelligently inputs them into an algorithm for automatic color reproduction. It creates much more complex and creative lighting patterns. It supports a maximum resolution up to 4K 60 Hz, and what's even cooler is it matches whatever colors are on the screen at the time. So it actually makes the content leave your screen and pop out, making your TV feel bigger. The installation process is incredibly easy, and it's compatible with pretty much anything that uses HDMI 2.0. I've seen other devices that are like this, but a lot of them use a camera that sits on top of your TV, or they connect to the internet, which I wasn't really a fan of. This just uses HDMI and it gets out of your way. It's super easy. Plus, you can cut the light strip to make it fit your TV exactly. So if you want to get one for yourself, make sure you check out the link in the description down below, and big thank you to Lightme for supporting the channel. You can now get a Steam Deck for $320. That is $30 cheaper than an OLED Switch, and the library is infinitely bigger. It's also less than half the price of the ROG Ally. The mid-tier deck is $420 and the top-tier deck is $520. And while it's true that these are refurbished devices, they are certified, meaning that Valve has tested these decks themselves with over 100 tests, and Valve says that all refurbished units meet or even exceed the performance standards of the new retail units. Although there might be some minor cosmetic blemishes, they provide a reliable, high-quality gaming experience at a lower cost. They also come with a power supply, carrying case, and the same 1-year warranty that the deck comes with. So for me, this is a no-brainer. I see no reason to buy a new deck when you can save so much money on a refurbished model. Sure, there might be some slight cosmetic defaults, but over time you're probably going to scuff up your Steam Deck a little bit anyway, or you'll have it in a case, in which case, pun intended, the cosmetic issues won't matter. I've got a few cases linked down below if you want to support the channel. So if you're looking to get a Steam Deck, or you're looking to pick one up for a friend or family member, which one should you get at this point? When the deck was first announced, I bought the mid-tier model because 64 gigs just seemed like too small for the storage, and I was intimidated at the idea of replacing the SSD. Since then, I've opened up my deck a couple of times, once to replace the sticks, and then I also did a full teardown to replace the entire shell with a transparent one. Now, I'm not recommending that process as it took me 7 hours, and while it looks cool, it was an absolute nightmare to pull off. But the SSD is really easy to get to. You can swap it out in minutes and then reinstall the operating system. So I would recommend picking up the cheapest version and then getting a third-party SSD, links down below, because the swap is super easy to do. Of course, as I'm recording this, the cheapest Steam Deck is out of stock, but I'm sure this is going to change. I'm betting that these decks are the ones that Valve is reclaiming during the RMA process. Imagine somebody has an issue like a touchpad isn't working and they RMA the deck. Valve just sends them a new deck rather than make them wait around for the repair. Then they swap out the broken part with a new part and sell it as a refurb. Speaking of the Steam Deck RMA process, last week I told you about my buddy Lloyd, who had an issue with his battery health. Well, after 3 full discharge and recharge cycles, his battery health went from 78% up to 95%, which is awesome. If you want to check your battery health, you can hop into desktop mode, click the start button, type Info Center, click on Energy, and you can see how your battery health is. If your health is low, I'm putting the process on screen right now so that you can see how to fix it, and if it helps, let me know in the comments. Moving on to the closest competition the Steam Deck has right now, I have a word of warning for owners of the ROG Ally. It looks like there's a new software update that ruins the triggers for driving games. Kyle, aka Cryobite33, sent me this video from Filterless. It shows that the latest update to the ROG Ally, which came out on August 8th, gets rid of a bunch of granularity in the triggers. You guys know how analog triggers work. You press it a little bit, you go slow. You press it a lot, you go fast. You press it all the way, you're at 100%. This is adjustable in Armory Crate, so you can decide how fast you get to 100%. So if you're playing a shooter, you can have a hair trigger, but if you're playing a racing game, you can give yourself more fine control. Well, in the latest update, you get to 100% really fast, way faster than you should. I'm sure that they will fix it, as I can't imagine that this is how they intended it, but it's like they're just flailing about with changes and not really testing things. But before people start saying that I'm biased, guess what? Everyone has their own preferences. I'm biased, you're biased, everyone has their own bias. Yes, I like the Steam Deck more, but I still think the Ally is a great device and I want it to succeed because more competition is always good. And Asus is not the only ones shipping bad updates. We've seen bad updates from Valve as well. So don't think that I'm trying to pile on here. I'm just warning people, don't update to the new stuff because it's going to mess up your triggers. Baldur's Gate launched with DLSS 2 and AMD's FSR 1. Larian Studios has said that they're going to be updating it to FSR 2.2 in the future, but for now, you don't have to actually wait. Now, if you don't know what these are, don't worry, I'm going to explain, but if you already know what these are, don't skip. Stick around, see if I get it right, and correct me in the comments. DLSS and FSR are essentially upscaling options. Basically, you run the game at a lower resolution, but preserve resources. The game kind of looks ugly, and the upscaler makes the game look better, so it seems like you're running it at a higher resolution without too much overhead. If you're running NVIDIA hardware, you use DLSS, and if you use AMD hardware, you use FSR. How did I do? Well, there's now a mod that allows you to basically run FSR 2.2. And if you want to run it, it looks pretty simple. I'm just going to wait, but if you want to know how to do it right now, I'm going to put the instructions on the screen so you can pause and give it a shot. This should give you better visuals over FSR 1 and better frame rates as well. But speaking of Baldur's Gate 3, Steam cloud saves are driving me crazy. I play games on a bunch of different devices. My ROG Ally, my PC, my Steam Deck, and GeForce Now. Full disclosure, I am a GeForce Now ambassador, and I love the service. The 4080 SuperPods are fantastic, and I'm not seeing any latency at all when I play. And my PC is aging, so I wanted to see how good Baldur's Gate 3 would look on beefy hardware. I have to tell you, it's beautiful. I was playing on ultra settings at 4K 60 frames per second locked. They can go up to 120 frames per second, I believe, but my monitor can't go higher than 60, so that's what I was playing it at. I decided to make a new character and try out Druid on GeForce Now. I played it for a few hours and closed the game down. Then I grabbed my Steam Deck in order to pick up where I left off, and my Steam Cloud was out of sync. I've been talking to someone at GFN, and it turns out that this is a known issue with Larian stuff, even happening outside of GeForce Now. So hopefully today's hotfix might actually help. It took a full 24 hours before my cloud saves finally showed up. I'm not sure what's going on, but hopefully it gets fixed. Have you had any issues with cloud saves before? Or if anybody out there knows any tricks when it comes to Steam cloud saves, let me know. By the way, if you're looking to pick up some horror games on Steam, you gotta check out this bundle. It is crazy good. You get 11 games for $35, including Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Resident Evil 4, the 2005 game, not the remake from this year. You also get Resident Evil 5, 6, 7, and 8, as well as Revelations 1 and 2 for $35. This deal is nuts. And you don't want to sleep on it. If you do use my link down below, it does support the channel, so thanks to anybody that does. But which is your favorite Resident Evil game? For me, the one that scared me the most is Resident Evil 7, but I think my favorite for me has to be Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is unfortunately not part of this bundle. Speaking of remakes, Quake 2 is getting a remaster. This was just announced and it's already available on Game Pass. It includes mission packs and levels from the N64 game. This is posted over at Rock Paper Shotgun. id Software and Bethesda have released a Quake 2 remaster to inaugurate this year's QuakeCon. It includes the mission packs The Reckoning and Ground Zero alongside levels from Quake 2 and N64. For for $10, plus a brand new expansion titled Call of the Machine, developed by Wolfenstein The New Order Studio Machine Games. The Reckoning and Ground Zero mission packs are 33 single-player levels and 21 multiplayer maps, while the brand new Call of the Machine expansion has 28 campaign levels and 1 new multiplayer map. This looks great, and for $10, or if you have it on Game Pass, it's included. I'm definitely interested in giving this a try, but I need to put more time into Baldur's Gate 3 first, though as I'm recording this, it's currently installing on my Series X. Speaking of the Series X, there's rumors of a digital-only Series X. This is posted over at Game Rant. Rumors suggest that the said digital edition Series X, along with other hardware, is being targeted for 2025 release. And we've also seen similar rumors about a PS5 Pro as well. Personally, given the choice, I would go discless any day of the week. I still have yet to put a single disc into my Xbox Series X or my PlayStation 5, but there's no way that I would actually replace one of the consoles that I already have with a discless version. But if Microsoft does release a digital-only Series X, I really hope that they find a way to lower the price of those SSD expansions. It's so much cheaper to upgrade the storage on your PlayStation than it is on your Xbox. Well, that does it for this episode. If you enjoyed this video, you're probably going to enjoy this one right here, which is the latest episode of the NerdNest podcast. It's me, Carrie from The Fox, Russ from Retro Game Core, Kyle from CryoBite33, and Rich from Van the Deck. You can watch it right here on this channel, or you can subscribe to the audio-only version if you want to take it with you in your favorite podcasting app. From the NerdNest, I'm Bill. Stay rad, everybody.